business, leadership, high performance, the journey. All right, welcome everybody. Great show today. So I have a couple fantastic ladies with me on the call for our podcast today. So Nashville recording artists and North Dakota's own Kendra and Krista combine their individual talents with sibling harmony to make up the genre-bending duo Tigirlily. And singing since they were talking, blending their voices was a natural step. In the past 7 years, the sisters have grown from touring the Midwest to headlining their own shows nationwide. Along the way, they've independently grown their fan base through high-energy live performances and a heavy social media presence with over 350,000 followers on TikTok alone. Diversely influenced and hard to box in, the pair have created a remarkable sound with songs handwritten by the two, appealing to pop and country audiences alike. So I am honored to have on the show today not just two fabulous gals, but even a better story and voices. So Tigirlily, welcome.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, excited to have you guys on here today. And just to clarify to listeners, these two are not only extremely talented and unbelievably hardworking duo that are really starting to make a name in Nashville, but they've performed the national anthem at national sporting events, performed at the famous Third and Lindsley, Blake Shelton's Ole Red, and have been regulars, it looks like, at Dierks Bentley's Whiskey Row, correct?
Yes, we played there. Well, you know, before everything started going down with this pandemic, we played at Whiskey Row probably 3 to 4 times a week, and then we play quite a bit at Ole Red. But we have started to play again at Whiskey Row, which we love that bar down. If you've ever been to downtown Nashville, it's just music and food and bars everywhere. The honky-tonks, they call them. But yeah, we love Dierks' place. It's such a great place for us to be too, because we can play a lot of our original music, which is really cool because it is an artist bar. It's original music friendly, I guess you could say. So it's a great fit for us, but we love it there, and we've met so many cool people there.
Yeah, for anyone that has not been to Nashville, 2 summers ago, my wife and I went with a group of friends, and it was an unbelievable time. Like you guys said, it is such a neat experience going into all the bars, honky-tonks. It's like you can get lost in there. I mean, you go through a time warp when you are in the bars in Nashville. You walk into a bar, there's unbelievable music, and then you've realized there's another floor. You go up to the next floor, and you listen to another band for an hour or two, and before you know it, 3 or 4 hours has gone by, and you haven't even left one bar yet.
I know. It's pretty crazy. I think people don't even understand. We said there's music literally everywhere in every bar. Like, it's unlike any other place, really, probably around the world. And I think it's kind of become, the word has gotten out because it's just crazy busy here now, and it's kind of a new Vegas. I almost think, like, instead of going to Vegas, like, let's go to Nashville, or it's the home of bachelorette parties. And
oh my God, for bachelorette
Let's go to the
parties,
casino, let's go see some live music.
Yeah. That was one thing that our whole group said. Holy man, for bachelorette parties everywhere. It was just bus after bus after bus. But we had a ton of fun, and we were blown away just by the level of talent that you see in all those bars. I mean, just talent upon talent, and young talent. I mean, such as yourselves. I mean, every place you look is just, it was a unbelievable time. Highly recommended. It was a ton of fun. But so we have we have a lot to cover today, talking about your ladies' journey. But I know I wanted to start with you guys have a new single out, Unravel. For our listeners, if you have not yet checked that out, absolutely check it out. Videos on YouTube, all over social media. But I'm a big music lyrics guy, so I wanted to dive into just kind of the lyrics behind that song real briefly, and kind of talk about your guys' inspiration for it. But I know the chorus that resonated with me was, so tell me all your little secrets, get beneath your surface. I want to know you better. Let the deepest part of your soul unravel. And as I listened to that, I was actually listening to it over and over this morning before we recorded here, and I'm just like, man, that is deep. And I was curious as to what is your inspiration really behind that song?
Yeah, it's funny. If you do look at the lyrics, it's a lot deeper than I think people would expect, because we sing, so light on top of it that it sounds like a lighter song. But if you really think about the lyrics and when we were writing it, it's like I think people, I don't know, this is how we feel. It's like you want to get past the surface level relationship with anyone, really, whether it's like your friends, your sisters, your significant other, your family, whatever it is. To be on just a surface level with someone, it's all right, but it doesn't really mean anything. And so to have the most meaningful relationships in life, you really want to dig past that surface and really get to know what scares them, what do they want to achieve in life, all the things that you maybe wouldn't say on a first date, but maybe a few dates in. And that's kind of where the inspiration for the song came from. Just more meaningful relationships, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm being in business. I always stress the personal relationships. Get deep with people, get emotional, make the true connection. If you really truly want to get to know people on a heart level, I guess, if you could say.
Absolutely.
But well, let's talk about. You guys are from North Dakota. I mean, that's why I was so pumped to have you two on the show here. And actually, before we even recorded, I said. One of my best friends, my former college roommate, even was your guys' science teacher, Brett Johnsrud, and I know he spoke extremely highly of you too, as students in his classroom and such. But let's dive into just growing up in North Dakota and music in general. Tell me a little bit about just you two being raised, how music was a big part of your life, especially when you were younger.
Totally. Well, Mr. Johnsrud has been featured in a lot of Tigirlily videos along the years, I will say. We used about every resource possible, and he was always, if we needed a teacher or something like that in one of our videos, he was our go-to guy. So props to him for starring in many Tigirlily videos. But Krista, do you want to kind of talk about how we got started in North Dakota?
Yeah, like you said before, we are sisters. A lot of people ask us if we have musical parents, which we actually don't. Our dad's in the medical field and my mom worked at the school. But we just started singing at a super young age, like in church and community events. And then at the age of 10, I started playing guitar and started writing songs. I think my first song I ever wrote was about a boy that lived 2 doors down from me, had a little crush on him. Still remember it to this day. Yeah, went all Taylor Swift on it.
Love songs at 10 already, huh?
What was that?
I said love songs at 10 already, huh?
I know. I must have been reading too much Twilight or something. I don't know. And then Kendra, at the same time, kind of discovered her love of performing. Our grandma forced her to be in this Colgate Country Showdown, and she ended up winning the first 2 rounds of it at the age of 13. And she's like, oh, I kind of like being on stage. This is not so bad. But when we started writing songs together, I think we really wanted to push for an original career. And we started posting more videos on YouTube, like covers, originals. And from there, we started gaining fans rapidly through that and started playing more local shows around North Dakota. And at the same time, everything just kind of picked up together. And I officially, at the ages of 14 and 16, we decided to become the duo Tigirlily. I think if you go back onto our YouTube channel, our first official music video as Tigirlily was called Just Another Pretty Face in 2013.
Which Mr. Johnsrud is in. I still call him Mr. Johnsrud. Brett Johnsrud is in.
No, it's weird. You can't call their teachers by their
I know. When do you start calling your old teachers by their first names?
I don't think you ever really do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird. So yeah, we've been doing Tigirlily for 7 years now, which is crazy. But we've absolutely loved every step of the way. And I think it was really something we enjoyed doing together. We never even knew that we could get paid for doing music, let alone it be a career. Our first show that we got paid for, this is even before we were Tigirlily, was a Cenex annual meeting, which is a gas station if you're not familiar with it. But we got paid $100 to sing for an hour at the Cenex annual meeting. And we're like, whoa. And I was probably 12 at the time. I'm like, that's a lot of money. I can use this. I don't know to buy what, but we just started performing in every small town we could, every school we could. And we even partnered with Dollars for Scholars with the Bank of North Dakota and did a huge school tour when I was in high school still. And it was really weird how well people received us, because I think we were so young and kind of one of the only people around the North Dakota area doing original music. There's obviously a lot of great talent up there. But we kind of just went for it. We had no idea how the music business worked at all, but we just kind of started using trial and error to figure out what worked for us.
And really using our resources. We found great, video people to come in and do videos for us. Our band teacher from our school, he would, give his time and effort, which someday I hope we can pay him lots of money back for, because he did so many videos for us where, just in his band room, and he would do these amazing videos for us, and we put them on YouTube, and that really helped us gain a following. And then we found, more amazing videographers to work with and photographers around the area, and just started creating relationships with, radio and TV. And it was just, I think we look back now and we're like, that probably wasn't super normal, but it was normal for us because we just loved doing it so much. Yeah.
And it helped too that even though our parents aren't super musical, they were super, super supportive and always encouraged us to go after our dreams. And our parents would drive us to all our shows. And obviously we had to sign show contracts, but we were both minors. So like our parents helped sign on those. And I think our dad even learned how to do sound for acoustic shows. Like they were, 100% invested as far as just supporting us and our dreams. So definitely wouldn't have got far without them at all.
Yeah, it's amazing when you have big dreams and you start pursuing them and chasing them, how you really see the people that really, truly want to help and push and assist in any way that you can, how it really, really, truly reveals that. I know that's one thing I found personally, and I know talking with a lot of other high performers, high achievers, they'll say the exact same thing, that when it comes down to it, sometimes it's not more than a big handful, that really, really are willing to go way above and beyond and really help you get to where you want to get to.
Yeah, and we always say, like, so many of those people, they gave so much time to us to help us, and it's like we really, I think at the root of it all, would just love to be able to, buy them a hot tub someday, or do something like that. Maybe not a hot tub. I think that's what my mom always says she would want. But it is a handful of people. I could probably count 10 people on my hand right now who I would give a hot tub to if I could. But
we only thank people in hot tubs, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is true. And it's kind of, it's crazy because even some people you think would maybe be there the whole way aren't either. And so you really just find out who's there to really support you no matter what and be there for you. And, they're the ones supporting us. And we just feel super grateful to have a team like that, and still now have those people around us. We really do have the best creative team ever. And we have people around us who are just so inspired and inspire us and work so hard to help us. And we're extremely thankful for that, and know that we wouldn't have, gotten this far without all of them.
Yep.
Yeah. And even with, we'll probably get into more, moving to Nashville later, but just how supportive like the state of North Dakota was. I mean, we were playing, we were 14 and 16 playing to schools of like 500 to 1,000 people. And we didn't realize how crazy that was at the time. But they showed up at the shows, and we really had a solid touring career up in North Dakota in that area, which really, I think, gave us the push to move to Nashville. I'm like, hey, if we can do this here, let's make this next step.
Yeah, and even now it's crazy because I would say, like, when we play at Whiskey Row, half the bar is usually from North Dakota, Midwest area, who are in Nashville and have specifically come to see us play, which is really, really cool. That they're still, even 1,000 miles apart, that they're still coming to support us and see us here in Nashville, which is even cooler, looking back now to see the whole journey of everything. But yeah,
that is awesome. That is, I know actually some of my neighbors were just down there recently. Glenn and Melissa Grumish came and visited.
Oh, yeah.
Came and visited you guys and saw your show and such. I had seen online. So, well, I know.
Yep, we saw them. Saturday.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about, I mean, because I think there's a huge difference in, you know, as you start out and you're touring schools and people around North Dakota and such know you and, you know, you have a fan base, but then there's a whole nother level of when do you start connecting to that cold fan base per se, I guess.
Totally.
Of people that don't know you. They aren't a connection. They don't know your family, you know, things like that. When did you guys really see that kind of turning point or that tipping point where you guys really started to resonate with an audience far beyond just the people that you knew and were familiar with you?
Definitely. I mean, we for sure were spoiled in North Dakota, and we know that. Like, we got to play our 90-minute shows, and they were all original sets. And
we got to, like, you know, a lot of the venues knew that we were kind of like the local openers, you know, any like big act that came in town, they would have us open for them. So we got to do some really, really cool, or even like arena shows.
But I think we didn't take it for granted for sure, but like maybe a little bit.
We didn't realize how like rare that was, I guess.
Yeah. And so we were like, okay, we have this great following in North Dakota, like, but we did have some fans, you know, on YouTube and Facebook and things like that from around other places. But I feel like when we moved to Nashville and then we started playing these 4-hour, you know, cover / original gigs in Nashville, we had to play to audiences that didn't know us from Adam, basically, had no idea who Tigirlily was. And we were like, okay, well, we've never had to do this before. How do we now learn how to get everyone in this bar to become fans of us and our music?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when there's, like you said, there's 4 bands, pretty much every bar, every floor, the whole street of Broadway. Yeah. It's like they're seeing probably maybe up to 20 bands a day. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you convert someone that's seen that much live music? They're just there pretty much to party and have fun. Mm-hmm. How do you connect with them?
Mm-hmm.
So I think really over the last, you know, 3 years of being in Nashville, I think we've seen our fan base grow from just North Dakota to literally everywhere. And we get messages, you know, from New York or from California, people coming in, you know, saying, hey, we saw you last time in Nashville. You guys were our favorite act. Where can we see you play again? And then now, a few months back, we joined TikTok, and we've always been super involved in social media. It's been super important to us, especially being from North Dakota. Like, we knew that we had to use all of our resources we could. And we're definitely not experts on social media, but we try to use it to the best of our abilities. And so we joined TikTok a few months ago, which I was like, Krista, I'm absolutely not joining TikTok. I'm 24. Like, this app is for 15-year-olds. And Krista's like, come on, please join it.
We're in the middle of a pandemic. Like, just join TikTok. What can go wrong?
And so I did. I ended up joining, and now I'm like, it's the best thing we could have done, because that app we have, which is crazy to think, like 360,000 new fans of Tigirlily, like on social media, just on that one app. And if you think about how many people that is, it's like, that's Fargo, or I don't even know how big Fargo is.
The population of North Dakota.
Yeah, about half. It's about half.
And that's from all over the world. I mean, I know our biggest following on the app is from the United States, but it's also huge in Australia and Canada. So it just, even that, opening that many more doors for people to see our faces, you know, go to our page, see what we're all about from all over the world, is pretty crazy. So I would say the last 3 years, it's been the biggest jump from like North Dakota act to nationwide act, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause we've just had to learn how to do it and really try our hardest.
It was pretty much sink or swim. It's like, if we're going to be down, you know, busting our tails down on Broadway playing long 4-hour sets, like, we want to see something from it. We want to see like something from it. Yeah. It's like, we have to, obviously, most of our income comes through performing. So yeah, that's the obvious, but also like, we have noticed that it's so worthwhile, and we do make lifelong fans through playing Broadway, which is something I don't know if we ever thought we would see, but it's super cool. And then with TikTok, you know, it's that app. People are like not sure what it is really. It's like, does it really do anything? But we had a table that was at Whiskey Row on Saturday come from Indiana, because they saw us on TikTok. Like,
specifically flew to Nashville to come.
And I was like,
show.
this is absolutely crazy. Like, I don't know why, but it's just proving that it does translate. I mean, we have now more like monthly listeners on Spotify. We have just more fans overall, and it does translate, which is really cool to see.
On Instagram, probably in the last month, we've almost grown 10,000 followers in like a month on Instagram, which is, for us, that's a lot of new followers. So I think, you know, the pandemic, that this is a whole nother subject too, but going off of that, it's like, we were like, oh, what are we going to do? We can't perform. You know, music has been our solo job for 7 years. Like, what are we going to do if we can't perform? And I don't know if we would have focused as much on social media if we wouldn't have had the time to do it. So really, it's like, you just kind of have to take everything and, you know, make the most of it, because we wouldn't have gained like all these new followers from around the world without this, probably. So not that I like what is going on at all, but I'm just saying there is some silver linings, I think, in all of it. So
yeah, it was really interesting to see the entire music industry absolutely just pivot on a dime when all of this struck back in March. I mean, you started seeing the big fundraiser shows on TV, and I know, man, one of my favorite things to watch was the Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood duo that they did, just the acoustic stuff where they would just take requests on live TV and just play that. So,
I know. Yeah, that was the best. I think we were doing a Facebook Live at the same time as them one time, and my mom's like, sorry, I'm watching Garth and Trisha tonight, not yours.
Funny.
I'm like, it's okay, Mom, it's okay.
So yeah, speaking of Garth Brooks, man, must have been maybe March or April. And as we're recording this, it's mid-October as we're recording this. So back like March, April, I was actually watching a Garth Brooks documentary, and he was talking about his whole journey, and he actually moved to Nashville. Didn't think it was going to work out. Moved back home. I think it was to Oklahoma, if I'm correct. So I want to talk with you guys. I want you to share a little bit about just what was your guys' big transition like? I mean, when did you finally realize that, hey, we need to move to Nashville if we're going to make this fly, if we're going to make this dream happen? And then what was that transition like?
Totally. I mean, because we had been doing music for a couple of years before we moved to Nashville, we always knew in the back of our minds, like, that was the dream, to move to Nashville, and like, you're all starry-eyed and like, oh, if you move to Nashville, that's where all your dreams come true. You know, they paint that picture, which there's a lot of truth to that, but you also get here and then you're like, okay, well, now I'm here. There's a million other people doing this. How do I stand out, and how do I work my tushy off to basically like prove myself in a town where everyone's good, where everyone's pretty good, for the most part, obviously. But I think it was the best thing we could have ever done. For me, it's like a lot of people coming from a small town. I think a lot of people are afraid to take, a risk and leave home, and just, it's comfortable. You get comfortable being in a small town and having your family close to you. And if you love that, of course, like, don't leave. But if you have the urgency to like try something new or take a risk or, get out of town for a while, I would highly encourage it. I mean, personally and musically, we've learned so much in 3 years. I look back to when we moved here, and it's funny because my mom even says, Kendra, your voice has gotten lower since you moved to Nashville. And I'm like, what does that mean? And I look back at old videos, and it's like, I think I've just become more driven and realistic of what life looks like as a musician and what success looks like. And to me, it's like, if we can continue to make a living off of music for the rest of our lives and play shows and continue to meet new people and release music, like that's enough for me. And that is the dream. And I think you have to realize that early on, otherwise this town or the dream can totally just like eat you alive, because it is daunting, like looking at what other people are doing or, things like that. But Krista, you want to say something? So
yeah, I was just saying that in North Dakota, when we planned on moving to Nashville, the dream was, be the next like Carrie Underwood or Miranda Lambert or Taylor Swift, that like still would be awesome. Yes, I'm not saying that isn't the dream anymore, but like people have a very specific version of what they think success looks like in the music industry. Yeah. It's, radio hits, it's like ACM, CMA, which are all great things. But they're still
we would love
like, all goals of ours. Yeah. But I think when we shifted to Nashville, we realized like in North Dakota, we were like we were living the dream. We were like we were making a full-time living off of music. We had people who supported us. We had fans. So I think it just shifts, and it's like Kendra and I have always been super, gracious and just like content with where we're at. We never take anything for granted. So every time we get to release a new song into the world or meet someone new or play a show, especially this year when we played a show on Saturday, I'm like, this feels incredibly good. It's just that's all the dream. And we still have goals, don't get me wrong, but I just think it shifts from moving to North Dakota to Nashville, that the dream shifted a little bit, or what success looks like to us.
Mm-hmm. What, because I think you bring up an absolutely super valid point of, success is different in everyone's mind. Like you said, some people picture playing in front of, 80,000 fans in an arena. Other people, maybe imagine success as playing acoustic sets in bars forever,
Totally.
And your journey is always, it's always changing. You come across people, you come across new experiences, things happen that make you shift and adapt, exactly like we talked about already. But what does that success look like down the road for you too? What is your, what I refer to as the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal when I talk with businesses? What is that for you guys?
I mean, we still have the big goal.
I want to sell out thousands of tickets. Like, I want to headline an arena tour.
Yeah, we want to open up for the Dan and Shays, and we want to open up for Little Big Town,
and then be the Dan and Shay.
And then yeah, exactly. We still have that goal in mind, but I think to think we're only going to be happy if that happens is where our minds have shifted a little bit. Like we're still so happy and so thankful with where we're at now and having, thousands of fans, which is crazy, still as it is. And to be able to do music full time, like that is literally so lucky. We're so lucky to be able to do that. But no, we want to play the Opry. We want to play Madison Square Garden. We want to tour the world. Like we want to do it all. So we really, really are going to keep working to get to that point. We want to sell out the Burning Hills Amphitheater in Medora. We want to sell out the Belle Mayhew at the Fargo Theater. All those things are definitely little bucket list items. And hopefully, come sooner than later. But we're just kind of going to keep riding the journey and see where it takes us. And I think that's the most fun part, is that we get to do it together too. And I think that's why it's not as sad and daunting.
Yeah, we have, probably one of the most commonly asked questions we get is, what's it like working with your sister?
Mm-hmm.
And we've been working together, I guess, for over 7 years now, which is really weird because it's like, oh, I guess we're sisters, but we're also coworkers and best friends, and we get along great, and we actually also live together at the moment. So like it's probably a little too much time. We're literally in pretty much every aspect of each other's lives, but I think it's been that way for so long. And even though we were raised in like the same family, kind of the same values, we're very different people. So I think our personalities complement each other very well. We also have very different strengths when it comes to music, and we also have different roles in Tigirlily as well. And I think along the way, if there's been little issues, we just have defined our roles and what we do so well that honestly, we love working with each other. And also it's fun because it's like you get to share that with someone. And also when it is those harder times, it's like, what are we doing? We do, like, if I'm struggling, Kendra knows exactly what I'm going through. And there's not a lot of people who can say that. Like, we know exactly what each other are feeling. We have a lot of solo artist friends, obviously, in Nashville, and they just say it gets extremely lonely. And I think
I would bet,
even if,
honestly, that's why, a lot of people turn to bad substances, because it can be so lonely when you're doing it all by yourself and you don't have people who understand what you're going through. So we to our solo artist friends, we're like, you can come hang out with us.
Yeah, there's no doubt the road to success is paved with a lot of not just challenges, but like you said, loneliness. I mean, it sure can be, because your circle, I think, can get a lot smaller. The quality of it is amplified greatly, I think. But especially, I mean, man, for you two moving away from family, from friends, and you plant yourself in a brand new environment, and you're just you're a small fish in a big pond. I mean,
absolutely, yeah. No, and thankfully we knew a few people before coming here, and we did. Yeah, I mean, but our handful of people that we still absolutely trust and would talk to about really anything going on in our life or career probably is still 5 to 10 people. I mean, it's our really deep circle is pretty small still, but I totally agree. I think quality over quantity is always the way to go, and to share those, really the deeper stuff, obviously, with which goes back to Unravel. But I mean, we are just so happy with where we really didn't think we'd be this happy ending 2020 like this with our career. We thought this might be a sad year of Tigirlily. Just, I mean, for every artist it is, just because there's no performing, and live music is just a huge heartbeat of what the music industry is. So,
and I think so Kendra and I have been independent singer-songwriters for the past 7 years, and a lot of people don't realize that it costs a lot of money to record music. So basically, Kendra and I think our grandparents did buy us our first sound system, but other than that, we've been completely self-funded, and we just basically toured as much as it took to make money to live, and then put aside money to record music. And that's kind of the album cycle. You tour, make enough money to record, spend a lot of money on recording videos, promoting it, then go tour again. So without touring, nothing really else can happen. But thankfully, we did shift to virtual concerts, and we did, and we ended up getting like some
brand campaigns,
which
we just did with Ked's shoes, which was awesome.
And we're still able to, put out music. So at the end of
we're
the day,
very thankful.
It all worked out.
So working together as sisters, I mean, you said you two obviously get along. You're involved with basically everything you guys do together. What is the biggest challenge, I mean, in working together? How do you get away from each other too? Because you do need that, I would imagine, as well.
Totally. Probably the hardest challenge is just being too comfortable with each other. Like, it's funny because which is also a pro, but like, we started doing this thing called the 615 House, which is a bunch of original artists, Nashville TikTokers, basically coming together to collaborate. And sometimes when we're in the house, like, I'll look at Krista and be like, no, that was totally off. And like, everyone will probably look at me thinking like, wow, you're so rude. And it's like, no, we just do that. Like, we just say that to each other. Like, if we don't take offense, like, Krista will be like, no, that wasn't right. And I'll be like, yeah, you're right. It wasn't right. So we're so comfortable with each other. Like, other people are probably like, wow, you guys like really just tell each other how it is. But at the end of the day, I think we get more done in that sense of like, no, that was off. We should redo that. Or, this word should be this, or da-da-da. And it's usually pretty small things. But yeah, we definitely do have our time away from each other. Krista's actually, between the two of us, people probably think I'm more of the extrovert and love to like go out and hang out with friends. But Krista definitely is more of the extrovert. She loves to be social and literally go out all the time with friends and hang out. And I love to, when I'm at the end of the day, just ready to go home and like watch a movie, have a glass of wine, relax. So I feel like that's where we kind of separate our time. And I am married, so I do spend time with my husband too. But yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your guys' music. For any listeners that aren't super familiar with Tigirlily, I mean, you guys have a very unique sound, and it's awesome. I mean, it's not country, it's not pop, it's somewhere in between, and it's a little bit of something else. So I'm not sure exactly what you'd call it. And I know you guys have gotten some flack. You've gotten some pushback on it, even from people like, well, we're not sure where it really fits into mainstream music. But you guys are not willing to sacrifice and have never been willing to sacrifice the sound to appease people.
I like that. I've never, and it's a little bit of something else. I like that. Yeah, I mean, we grew up just listening to so many different kinds of music. When we write, we're like, first of all, we're not with some label that's forcing us to be something we're not, you know? So basically we can be anything we want to be at this point. And it's like, why don't we just create music that we love? And so every time, I feel like it goes through cycles, and every cycle our sound changes a little bit, you know, because we grow. It's a few years. We grow in age. We grow, I was going to say in size probably too. I don't know. Too many cupcakes. I don't know, but that didn't make sense. our knowledge, that's where I was going. But I just, sorry, I'm so off topic now.
Describe our music to people.
Oh, yeah. So there, cupcakes. I got sidetracked.
Oh, you're good.
But yeah. So every kind of cycle changes with what we sound like, but at the root of it all, we have some sort of country, some sort of pop, and maybe some sort of like soul in there. And it kind of a little bit of R&B sometimes too, and it all kind of mixes. And some songs are more pop, R&B, soul, and then some songs are more like country. It just kind of depends on the song and what we love and what we're really vibing with at the time. And we've been actually writing just a ton in the last 2 weeks, getting ready for some new music too. And it's like, even now with this new stuff we've been writing, we're like, wow, this is totally a different new sound for us, but we still sound the same, if that makes sense. Like with our voices together and our sister harmonies, and at the root of it all, it's always like an acoustic guitar, just really stripped down. And we always want to be able to perform whatever song we're playing live and just really have the same effect as even the full band, acoustically. So really our sound at the root of it all is our harmonies together, sister harmonies. Krista does some really cool, unique things with her octaves, or, you know, she'll go into unison with me, and not a lot of people do that. So I think the sound we've created just together, and the organic with the acoustic guitar, that's what people are really drawn to at the root of it all. And so the production can kind of change around that, depending on what the EP wants to sound like, or the album, or whatever. But yeah, definitely pop, country pop. It kind of goes back and forth.
If I have to give the short answer, it's pop country. Yeah. But there's something that you said, a little bit of something, and I think that just takes on whatever mood we're in that day, or
I love it.
What's going on in the world too. So
yeah, it's such a big differentiator, I think, for you guys, just in the music scene, because you do see people get pegged into a corner or stuck in a corner as far as they're this or they're not this, you know. And country music, I think, has been so interesting in the last 10 or 15 years of how you've seen it morph so drastically, you know, of people bleeding in all these different styles of music genres into country, where I don't know if you can really even say what country music is anymore, because it's not Hank Williams, it's not Willie Nelson, it's not Reba McEntire. I mean, it's such a unique, cool blend of all these different sounds and such.
I actually listened to a podcast the other day with Maren Morris, and they were kind of talking about the same thing. And she was like, you know, people who aren't classic country get flack a lot for it. And, you know, it doesn't bother us, because if you don't like our music, that's okay. Like there's music that we don't like. Not everyone's going to like our music. We understand that. So at the root of it all, we have to stick to what we love. And if we love it, you know, we have to hope other people love it too. But she was saying, like, it's country music has changed, it has shifted, but still what remains the same in country music is the telling of a story and the songwriting, and really crafting a song from beginning to end. Like, that's one thing I think what country music really is and hasn't changed. And so for us, it's like, yeah, we're country, because when we write a song, a story from beginning to end. And we really think about crafting that story, and we're not just like in a track room throwing beats on something to try to make it fun or whatever. So I think we are still country in that sense of, and we do have country songs, but we're country in our songwriting style for sure. And then the pop comes in more with some of the melodies or, production wise. But yeah, it's the songwriting really at the root of it all. What makes it country, especially nowadays, because like you're so right, it can be rap, it can be R&B, like it can be the bro country or whatever people are calling it. There's so many different styles, and to be honest, there's not even a lot of the classic country that people always say, oh, it's not country. Like there's not even a lot of that anymore, which
Chris Stapleton's probably one of the only guys I can think of right away. I mean, in country music that really has a true authentic country sound still.
And Ashley McBride, which I don't know if you know who she is, but she's kind of an up and coming girl in country. She does it well. Still with a little bit of a modern twist, but she does the country real well.
Yeah, it's refreshing to hear some of that still. I will absolutely admit that, because it's tough to beat some good old country like Waylon Jennings and some old school artists like that. But at the same time, it's like it's already been done, so why would you even want to try to do the same thing and beat it when it was that good? Yeah.
You kind of have to craft your own sound, because
like we're not going to ever be better than
Dolly Parton,
or like I'm saying, like sibling harmonies, like
Judd,
like the 60 Chicks or the Chicks. We're not going to be better than the Chicks, so it's like let's do something different, but maybe a little bit reminiscent of it,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Totally.
Well, I greatly appreciate what you two do, and I absolutely love it myself. But I want to finish with this. I want to finish talking about what advice would you leave anybody listening to this that's really looking at taking a risk? Because I think you two, I mean, obviously, like you've discussed through already, you guys took an absolutely enormous risk of not just, I mean, even backing up before Nashville, of just pursuing a huge, huge dream, and focusing on, I think what I've gotten out of this is you guys have been really good at focusing on the process, have fun in the process, focus on the process, see where it goes, just keep busting your ass. Great things will happen, and then you get the opportunity where you really see like, hey, if we want to take this next level, we got to move to Nashville. We got to do that whole thing. And you did it.
Yeah.
So what advice would you leave people as far as anyone looking at taking a huge risk? It doesn't matter if it's personal, professional, whatever it may be.
No, I mean, I think it all goes together at the end of the day. And this is such a hard question because there's so many things I would say, but I would definitely say take the leap of faith, because life is so short and we only have one. So you might as well take the leap of faith and see what happens. And just know that no one will work harder for you than you. You have to be the one to show up. You have to be the one to do the work. No one else is really going to do it for you. And every time, I know people talk about failure a lot and how, oh, I failed and da-da-da. It's just like, we talked about this yesterday, actually, and we were just saying how it's just another way something didn't work, and you move on and you try something else.
Yeah, that's been our whole career, has been like, try something and see what works.
Yeah.
So it's like, we definitely have stuff that, it's not like it's failed, it just hasn't done as well as other stuff. And we're like, okay, we've learned from that. Let's take that information and move on and use it in a better way.
I think people can just feel so discouraged when maybe they didn't feel like something went as well as it should have. But every, quote unquote, successful person in their life has never always been successful, and they've had to go through many things to get to the point where they are today. And so it's just another way something didn't work. And, at the end of it all, just be kind and respectful to people, and really don't treat others worse. Because, everyone puts their pants on the same way. So I just really feel like those are the things we live by, and everyone's journey is different, and it's really hard to, not look at what someone else is doing and be like, oh, why can't I do that the same way? But it's just know that everyone's journey is different. And then someday someone will look at your story and be like, wow, I want to do it just like whatever Tigirlily did. And they won't be able to. They can maybe learn things from how we did it, but everyone's journey is different. And just know that you'll get to where you want to be your own way by working hard and putting in the work.
Yeah. And I think some people get caught up in that, thinking they have to do it just like somebody else did. And I think that a big difference is is the people that reach that point where they go, you know what, I'm not going to do it like somebody else has already done it. I have to kind of find my own way, my own path, my own journey, like you guys have mentioned. And I think that's a huge turning point for a lot of people, whether they end up quitting or whether they keep going.
Yeah, and I mean, you obviously take things that have worked for other people, and we've obviously looked at people like, oh, Taylor Swift writes songs, we should write songs, things like that, and people should inspire you to do things and try things, but
no one will ever have the same exact career path that Taylor Swift did, like ever again.
Yeah.
So take major, focal points from people's careers, but you can't just replicate someone's career, and also you don't want to replicate someone's career.
Take what you want and then make your own.
Yep, for sure. Well, can you share with us, to finish up here, can you share with us anything around what you guys have been writing on lately? Because like you mentioned, you two have been writing a ton. Any specific themes or anything that you're really focusing on?
We've been pretty honest lately, I feel like, when we've been writing through, Krista going through a break. I haven't gone through a breakup because I'm married, but we've written love songs. We've written, a breakup song with Krista going through in the last year, I guess now. We've written some songs about Christianity and what that means to us, and basically how everyone's judging everyone, but none of us are Jesus enough, which is kind of funny, but it's a better than what I just explained it as. And then life, like a lot of our story, a lot of like being a female right now and feeling like you have to like be or look a certain way to, fit the mold, and like how much BS that is basically. So we've been trying to speak our truth and other people's truth and what, we feel like is going on in the world right now, and trying to stay, up to date on all of that. But yeah, a lot of really cool stuff. We're super excited to, when we can, share it all. Obviously.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to hearing more. So, well, Kendra, Krista, thanks so much for being on. Where can our listeners find you and follow you online?
Yeah, we have a lot of social media. We are on Apple Music and Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all under Tigirlily. And Tigirlily is spelled with all I's because it's Tigirlily, Tigirlily. And that's when people go, oh, that's why they spell their name weird. But yeah, so and if you guys like DM us or message us, we're usually pretty good at getting back to people. I can't promise always, but we try to respond to comments and messages as much as we can. So
sweet. Well, thanks again for hopping on today, taking the time. Be sure everybody to follow Tigirlily. Check out their new single Unravel. And I know I'm excited for the day to see you guys owning the stage and packing that arena with 50, 60,000 fans.
Oh, we hope so. That would be, well, it'll happen. I'm just going to put it out into the universe. Let's do that. Give us a few years yet, but we'll try to make that happen. So thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
You bet. So with that, don't forget to follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook at Patrick Metzger Coaching. Thanks again for listening, tuning into this episode. Make sure you subscribe to rate the podcast. Show notes with Tigirlily from today can be found on the website at patrick-metzger.com. And make sure you take a screenshot of today's show. Check out the single Unravel. Share that on social media. Fantastic message in that song about getting deep with people. So until next time, I want to remind you to own you and the journey.